Welcome back to the race. Time now for our three big questions tonight. Still with us, Rachel Maddow, Eugene Robinson, Chuck Todd, and Tony Blankley. First up today, Barack Obama picked up the endorsement of former Congressman Lee Hamilton, the top Democrat on both the 9/11 Commission and the Iraq Study Group. Hamilton is not a superdelegate, but he could help Obama in his home state of Indiana. Obama also picked up the endorsement of Wyoming's governor and superdelegate Dave Freudenthal. The governor is the 53rd superdelegate Obama has gained since Super Tuesday. Hillary Clinton has picked up 4 but lost 9, a net loss of 5 superdelegates since February 5th. Clinton still leads Obama in the total number of superdelegates. She has 255, he has 223. But the only high-profile endorsement she has received lately is from Congressman John Murtha of Pennsylvania. So our first question tonight, is anyone actually getting on Clinton's bandwagon, Rachel?
This is maybe the most damning statistic in the entire Clinton-Obama race right now. To see Obama up by more than 50 and Clinton down by 5 since Super Tuesday it's actually incredible numbers, given that it will be the superdelegates who are going to make this decision. This is not just one metric among many. This is the metric that makes the difference now.
And that's the whole thing here, Chuck, is that as the Clintons are making the argument that the voting should go on and that they shouldn't be counted out, they don't seem to have very many high-profile allies in that fight.
You know, early on, there was a lot of chatter that if you weren't with them early, what would make you get on the bandwagon late? And I think that's what we're seeing here. And literally, you have a whole bunch of these uncommitted superdelegates. When you start probing them and you start having conversations with them, they're not yet with Obama simply so that they can always claim that they were always on the fence with the Clintons. It's like they're not yet with Obama because they don't want to offend the Clintons, but they're not going to be with the Clintons. And I think that beyond something that changes the race, they're not going to be with them.
All right, next up, the Democratic primary isn't over, but Team Obama is already playing an ambitious general election strategy. The Politico reports the Obama camp is focusing not on swing voters, but on getting young and African-American voters to turn out en masse in November. Ben Smith puts it like this to the quote board: Obama's proven appeal to independent voters, his campaign's focus on increasing turnout of younger and black voters, his base could counterbalance hints of weakness among more traditional swing voters like the working class whites known as Reagan Democrats. Let's put it to the panel. Our second question tonight: could, in fact, Obama reshape the electorate, Tony?
He could in many ways. Obviously, he's going to get a boost from the 13.5 million African-American votes in 2004. The question is, how will he do with the 95 million white votes? The other area where he could be changing the map, not to his advantage, is New York. There's a lot of nervousness in the Jewish community there. That could be a source of money for McCain, and conceivably, you could see a fairly low Jewish Democratic vote, maybe in the 60s rather than in the 70s. Could that flip New York against Obama? Maybe.
Could also be a factor in Florida. There's also, Eugene, the issue of Reagan Democrats, a lot of them working class white voters. We have seen this swing group of voters, white men, where Obama has done well in the West. He did well in Virginia as well. But states like Ohio, he has not done so well. That's why Pennsylvania becomes important as well.
Well, I suspect you might, if he were to get the nomination, you might see him pivot somewhat on a few issues in an attempt to attract what he calls Obamacans, the converse, I guess, of the Reagan Democrats. Maybe they're the same people, but so I think he'll go after those people.
But Eugene, what are those issues? What are those issues really? Because he's still going to have to fight a pretty liberal voting record.
Well, he does have a liberal voting record, but he said some tantalizing things, for example, about affirmative action and how you look at affirmative action going forward. I don't know that this would happen, but I think you could see him, come up with some sort of innovative position on affirmative action going into the general election that might be an expansion on some of the things he said in the race speech and some of the things he said in other speeches. That's the kind of issue that he could break new ground on.
Okay, finally tonight, John McCain is making his VP shortlist. He told reporters he is in the embryonic stage. That's a quote of picking a running mate, but he wants to make his choice sooner rather than later. McCain said today, quote, "I'd like to announce my VP choice as early as possible. I'm aware of enhanced importance of this issue given my age." Our third question tonight: how important is McCain's VP choice to his chances of winning in November, Chuck, precisely because of age?
I don't think it's because of age. I think if he makes the decision to pick somebody that simply helps him win the election, and when you look at it in that case, then you start to look at blue states that he wants to pick off, or how does he help himself in the West. And I have to say, I keep thinking this Mitt Romney stuff is starting to become more believable, because Romney could actually help him in Michigan and help him out West in Nevada and Colorado.
Chuck,
Rachel, I think the same thing, actually.
Well, at the same time, though, John McCain explicitly brought up the age thing on his own. He wasn't prompted to talk about that. He raised the age issue. I find it just politically notable and incredible that he's raising the specter of his own death in office in order to talk about his VP choice. That's a big deal.